بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مرحبا بكم أحبتي. ويانا ضيف عزيز اليوم علينا اللي هو أستاذ أحمد كاظم. أستاذ أحمد كاظم كمل بوست دوك أو ما بعد الدكتوراه بحث، وإجا مؤخرا من الولايات المتحدة، حامل معاه تجربة كبيرة جدا في مجال تطوير مهارات الأشخاص اللي حابين يطورون لغتهم. اليوم راح نستغله حتى يتحدث لنا على أهم التحديات اللي يواجهها طلبة الماجستير في مرحلة البحث، لأنه حقيقة هذا كان مطلبه الأساسي، أنه يشوف عدد كبير من الأشخاص على مستوى العراق يواجهون تحديات كبيرة في مجال تطوير مهاراتهم أو تطوير بحثهم في اللغة الإنجليزية في مجال الماجستير تحديدا. فبعد أنه بعد ما اكتسب خبرة كبيرة في هذا المجال وإلا باع طويل حقيقة في هذا المجال، اليوم راح يتحدث لنا عن تجربته. So we are going to have a mix of English and Arabic conversation here. I'll just shoot the ball in his court and he's going to take it from there. Mr. Ahmed, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for the invitation acceptance here. And let's get started.
Mr. D.وليد, thank you. It's my pleasure. I appreciate that you are providing
me with this. Can you just raise your voice a little bit because it's not quite.
Yeah. Okay. So how is my voice now? Do you think it's better?
It's much better.
Okay. So again, as I said, thank you for this opportunity. I think the introduction was to the point. Thank you very much for the introduction about my background and for the purpose of this interview, which I think you already explained it. And please, since you are the host, feel free to interrupt me, or if you have any question, or if you think there are common questions from people, because I know you have been very well engaging. انت دائما ما شاء الله تتواصل يعني مع الاخوه، خصوصا انت طبعا اكيد اختصاصك هو تدريس اللغه الانجليزيه بشكل عام، بس ايضا شفت انا عندك اهتمامات حلوه بما يخص الجانب الاكاديمي وما يخص طلبه الدراسات العليا خصوصا الماجستير. I think you share me the concern that students are struggling and are usually challenged with so many challenges, especially when they start their master's studies, not to mention PhDs, of course. So I think one of the most common questions that I often asked about this, usually, Iraqi people usually are, aspiring. They aspire to the best, and many people like to, pursue their studies. So the question that they say is, sometimes they reach out to me and say, which should I take? Literature, linguistics, applied linguistics, methods of teaching? And this is a very common question. I think you agree with me. وهو حقيقة هذا السؤال أيضا مشهور، بس دائما أنا أقول، وأنت يمكن أيضا أستاذ وليد درست بأمريكا وشفت إنه دائما واحد مني يدرس يعني especially the graduate levels, there should be a purpose, there should be an objective.
Mr. Ahmed, I think there's some digression here that needs to be cornered. لهذا السبب I will dominate the conversation for a few seconds and ask you to tell us, first of all, what's the difference, أو بالعربي خلينا نحكي يا طلبتنا العراقيين أو بالشرق الأوسط، شنو فرق الدراسة بين الولايات المتحدة وبين دراستنا بالشرق الأوسط أو بالعراق تحديداً؟ وليش الطالب يطلع عنده إمكانيات أعلى من يدرس بجامعات أوروبا أو جامعات أمريكا مثلاً؟ فأستاذ أحمد، اتحدث لي عن تجربتك، ليش هناك التعليم مختلف؟ شنو السيستم الليبي مختلف؟ عندك دقيقة قبل أن نشفت للموضوع الرئيسي اللي هو concern of MA students in Iraq.
Yeah, it's big difference. I think, with 2 minutes, I need to concentrate here. First of all,
I want you to quantify and qualify the big difference out there.
I will try my best. So first, I think usually students in the United States, or the students who have the opportunity to study in the United States, usually have the freedom to choose what they want to study.
Okay, إذا عندهم حرية الاختيار، يعني مو أنه أنا كملت بكالوريوس إنجليزي لازم أكمل ماجستير إنجليزي ودكتوراه إنجليزي. تمام، هذا ينطي أكثر من جانب، مو؟
بالضبط، لان هو it's all about interest استاذ وليد. يعني if you are passionate about something you will be good at it. يعني اذا انت passionate about linguistics بس انت القدر خلاك تروح literature ما تقدر تغير الليترشر.
طبعا هذه بالعكس مهمة استاذ احمد، نقطة مهمة. البارحة كنا في حديث عن اي جي هوغ. اي جي هوغ عنده MA بالتيسول، ما عنده PhD. وعنده الباتشلر ديجري بموضوع اسمه سوشيال وركس. طبعا ما اعرف شنو السوشيال وركس يعني. بعدين رحت قرأت عنها يعني سوشيال وركس. الفكرة انه هو يعني علم الاجتماعيات مالتهم دارسيها بالبكالوريوس ودارس تيسول. فهذا اللي لاحظته انه الناس مثلا مو ضروري يكون تخصصه لغة بالبكالوريوس حتى يكمل ماجستير تخصص لغة. يعني هذا السيستم القديم. حاليا انت تلقي شخص عنده كليات عندهم فد معايير او فد تست معينة، اذا اجتاز هذا التست ينقبل ماجستير بهذا التخصص مثلا. فالناس هناك عندهم diversity of specializations and majors. هذا اريد اتعرج لي عليه يعني هذه النقطة تحديدا.
هو أنا واحد يعني أحد الزملاء اللي كانوا وياي بالPhD كان جاي من business master of business administration. فأنا تفاجأت قلت له why are you finishing up a degree in applied linguistics and you have a background in business administrations. فجوابه كان the business administration is already enough to me. قال أنا أخذت business administrations, I have a marketing skills, I know what to do, but now I think the field I am going to be in is the field of English as a foreign language or English as a second language. And then with my MBA, so this will give me a plus. This will give me more qualification for the job market. And that was interesting to me, actually. So this is one way. Another
Very
way
insightful.
is, and by the way, حتى نكون شوية fair هنا مو معناته إنه إحنا مثلا أنا I think I'm lucky because أنا أحب اللغة الإنجليزية وشاء القدر إنه أكون باللغة الإنجليزية.
نعم.
فلذلك I became good at it. But the problem is with those people who are not good at their majors, but they were forced by their parents, by the society, by whatever, okay? إنه انجبروا يكونون بهذا الاختصاص. هنا المشكلة. يعني أنا أتذكر في إحدى الكورسات كان عندنا كورس نتحدث عن الcoherence والcohesion writing. كان academic writing course اسمه writing for publication. فنذكر مصطلح الأنافورا. تعرف الأنافورا اللي هو reference والreference وهذا
background reference to something. يعني داكسز والأنافورا والكاتافورا. إيه نعم.
أحسنت. فالأستاذ ايش قالت لي؟ قالت لي how do you know this terminology؟ والله يعني مو ولا كذا هاي. قلت له because I studied linguistics. يعني فباقي الطلاب اللي ويانا، وهذا اللي جاي من business administration، هذا اللي جاي من economy، حتى من الهيستوري، فغريبة عندهم هذا الشيء. فأكيد أكو عنصر قوة إنه أنت عندما تكون جيد في اختصاصك وتحب اختصاصك أوكي، بس but oftentimes يعني you realize your passion late. يعني أنا أعرف هنا بالعراق مثلا people who graduate high schools, the first thing that they will think of is what? Medicine, right? So you have to go to the College of Medicine, you have to go to the College of Pharmacy, even if you don't like it. So this is one way. So back to the question is, what are the advantages or the distinctions that the American higher education is actually has compared to Iraq? So this is one. Another one is the coursework or the ability to succeed. يعني هناك أكو بالجامعات الأمريكية، أنا ما أعرف جزء حتى بالجامعات البريطانية، أكو يعني رأي عام و general understanding from the whole system to help you succeed. يعني يساعدوك إنه تنجح.
نعم.
help you succeed. يعني فرق بين إنه they don't make it easy for you. No. They provide you with all the platforms, with all the tools to be successful, right?
أستاذ أحمد، أتذكر أنا من وصلت البرنامج مالت الماجستير، من وصلنا الجامعة تحديدا، أول ما دخلنا أخذنا السكيورتي أوفيسر مالت الجامعة، سوانا باج يفتح به هذا يعني الكترونيك باج، هذا اللي يفتح لك الأبواب مالت الجامعة كلها والجيم، ويفتح لك المطعم، إذا المكتبة معزلة يفتح لك الباب مالتها. وراهم طونا فلاش درايف. هذا فلاش درايف بيباكج كل المعلومات اللي تحتاجها بمجال تخصصك، وبمجال يعني فهمك للجامعة، من ضمنها يعني حتى الشروط الأمنية إذا لا سمح الله صار سرقة أو فشي، تفاصيل كاملة وخريطة للمدينة وخريطة لأرقام تليفونات البوليس أوفيس، ويعني باكج كامل. بعد ما بدينا اكو فشي كلش حلو بالجامعات اللي هو اكو قسم يعني شخص دكتور اختصاص علم نفس، اذا الشخص عنده بريشر يعني تروح عليه، عندك جلسات وياه مجانيه. جامعه من ضمن الفيز اللي هم ماخذينها منك انه تروح استشاري نفسي. وعندنا اهم من هذا كله فشي، عندنا كل الجامعات اعتقد اللي بامريكا عندهم اكاديميك رايتنج سنتر، اللي هو طبعا المشكله الرئيسيه عندنا بالجامعات احنا ما عندنا اكاديميك رايتنج سنتر. يعني تتذكر مثلا بالبكالوريوس انا ما كان عندي واحد اروح استشيره اقول له شلون اكتب البحث مال التخرج، ماكو. هناك لا، يعني they walk you through a step by step process of how to write an academic paper، خاصة إذا APA أو MLA أو Chicago Manual. يعني they walk you through، يجيبوا لك الالامناي ممكن ما التخصص نفسه يشتغلون وياك، وإذا هذا ما نفع ينطونك extensive and intensive training عليه workshops، يعني مجرد حتى يخلونك sustainable.
بالضبط. في جامعتنا طبعا احسنت، هذه ملاحظه جدا مهمه. في جامعتنا كانوا يسموه Academic Writing and Success Center.
Success طبعا هي أنا key feature يعني.
النجاح يعني تعرف اكو سكيلز، انتو اكو سكيلز لك. مثلا انا بالمناسبه I work there. By the way, this is another advantage. One of the benefits of studying in the United States, especially for the graduate levels, they will I would say take advantage of you, but it will, you also take advantage because
طبعا يعني هو هذه يعني يعني هو they take advantage of you positively. يعني أنا مثلا كنت يعني منطيني مجال أشتغل 20 ساعة بالجامعة. إحنا هنا ما عندنا فكرة أنه الطالب يشتغل بالجامعة حتى يطور مهاراته، أو academic writing center حتى يعني يستمع يعني مثلا يسوي في training أو شلون يسوي ال APA أو citation، أو حتى يسوي avoiding the plagiarism. يعني ما عندنا هذه، يعني مجرد روح اكتبوا عندنا methods of research ياخذوها بالثالث او بالرابع وانتهى الموضوع. واصلا يعني peripheral تعتبر، ما تعتبر فد ancillary لل يعني الميجر ماتك. فاحنا يعني هاي مشكله انه يعني وين اكو واحد ممكن يقدر يشتغل بالجامعات هنا، يعني ممكن ينطونا فد فرصه انه يطور مهاراته من خلال شغله بالديبارتمنت مالته هنا، الا يحصل رقم 1 أو 2 يمكن او بالجامعه حتى يتعين. والتعيين طبعا يختلف على انه انت يصير عندك internship. احكينا على الانترنشيبس هناك.
Yeah, exactly. This is another thing. You know, sometimes actually I wrote an article called My Journey in the United States, not only surviving but also thriving. هو الكامبس، يعني الكامبس بشكل عام يوفر لك services, so many services, so many opportunities. They are already there for you, but if you stay still, you never get them. But you have to be, you know, you have to move on, you have to go for them. So to answer your questions, of course, you can be engaged in the students governance، يعني هذا المنظمات اللي تخص الحكم الطلابي والستودنتس جروبز وكذا، هاي وحده. ممكن انه انت تشتغل في مجالات مختلفه، يعني الاوبورتونيتيز اللي موجوده لك هي مو فقط في مجال اختصاصك، في مجال اختصاصات اخرى. مثلا تلقى ناس يشتغلون هم بالبزنس ادمنستريشنز بس هم يشتغلون بالرايتنج سنتر بمجال اختصاص طلابهم. So many services, so many opportunities out there on US college campus. When we compare it with, for example, the Arab world or the Iraqi context in particular, you will see big difference, because the focus here is only on the very narrow level of the academic achievement. It's okay to, you know, to stress on your students to be academically engaged, to, you know, to do their assignments, to make sure. But of course, you know, the philosophy، يعني teaching philosophy، فلسفة التعليم لازم تكون مختلفة.
فلسفة التدريس مهمة جدا.
للتعليم you have to be strict, you have to be you know, always difficult. You have to assign so many readings. You have to, you know, let the students live in fear, telling them that it's difficult, it's not easy, you will not get it without, you know. that's fine, okay, you know, disciplining students and providing them with some like stress is okay, but in the end it's learning, and learning needs what kind of flexibility, needs fun, needs.
هنا يقودني إلى السؤال الأهم اللي هو محور الحلقة مالتنا اليوم أستاذ أحمد. احنا عندنا بالعراق مبدأ التحفيظ أو الميموريزيشن، هذا شلون يتعارض ويا مفهوم يعني تخصصك وحبك للمادة مالتك؟ يعني شنو، هل التحفيظ اللي هو الميموريزيشن يساهم إيجابيا في تحسين مستوى الشخص؟ لأنه السيستم مالتنا معتمد على مبدأ التحفيظ، أحفظ الباراجراف هذه وروح جاوبها، يعني فأنت مجرد تكون ناقل للمعلومة مو بروسيسور إلها.
Believe me, Mr. Walid, even يعني all the theorists, all the theories about learning، يعني عندك فيغاتسكي، عندك ستيفن كراشين، كل الناس يقولون التعليم يكون when there is comprehension. When there is comprehension there is learning. Without comprehension there is no learning. يعني انت حتى بالsecond language I am a very big advocate of Krashen's comprehensible input theory. من يقول انه you don't need a teacher sometimes, you don't need to you know, enroll in very highly respected like courses. You need to.
والله هذا حقيقة، هذه الobservation مالتي. يعني ثاني مثلا أغلبية أو أفضل الأشخاص اللي التقيت بهم إجادة للغة الإنجليزية ما أخذوا كورسات أكاديمية بمعهد. هم معتمدين سيلف ريلاينس، معتمدين على نفسهم. وحتى يعني اكو فد مدام ذكرت فيغاتسكي وفكرته عن الزون اوف بروكسيمال ديفلوبمنت او الزي بي دي، هذا المفهوم يعني حقيقة ما يطبق هنا. يعني مجرد انه حتى لو الشخص يعرف 90% من المادة يجون يبدون وياه من from
نهائيا ما موجود
from the beginning. ما يحتاج احنا ردم الفجوة، ما عندنا ردم الفجوة، انه هو اني ابني على وفق الباك جراوند اللي عنده واشوف شنو التارجت اللي انا راسمه واسوي له scaffolding. فهذا scaffolding يعني the sense of scaffolding is gone. ما عندنا هنا.
There's no scaffolding. There is only, you know, scaring, not scaffolding. By the way,
يعني
when we talk about this, we are not يعني ولو اسمح لي استاذ وليد، هذا اوضح الفكره مهمه. We are here not comparing. We are just, you know, diagnosing. We are just, you know, identifying the points of weakness, and you know, as you said, bridging this gap is not difficult. It's easy. I mean, it just needs some kind of determination. It needs some work from people who are good in the field, people who studied, people who are the right person in the right positions. And it's easy. And وحتى الإنسان العراقي بالمناسبة مختلف. أنا أتذكر في معهد اللغة كنت أدرس في معهد لغة، وكانت مديرة المعهد تقارن الطلاب العراقيين بطلاب آخرين. نعم. ما يذكر الدول الأخرى، فكانت شو تقول؟ والله يعني هاي الكلمة قالت I would rather have 1 Iraqi student than 10 students from you know X country. She mentioned that. And I said,
أنا أعرف هذا الإكس country إيش تقصد بيه بس ما راح أقوله.
احنا يعني for the scope, you know, not interpreting it.
هو شوف استاذ احمد، يعني احنا اكو كلمه كلش احبها انا بالفيلد اوف تيسول اللي هي دايكوتومي. انا اعتقد انت تحب هذه الكلمه همتين. احنا نسوي دايكوتومي ليش؟ لانه احنا دا نشوف النموذج اللي استخدموه بالتدريس نجح وانتشر عن طريق اللغه الانجليزيه وصارت يعني حقيقه. هو ليش انتشرت اللغه الانجليزيه بالعالم؟ لأن فترة من الفترات بريطانيا وأمريكا صاروا يتوسعون الدول الأخرى ما يتحدثون لغتها، فصار تواصل بينهم وبين الجامعات أنه صمموا لنا فد مناهج معينة حتى على أساسها نقدم اللغة على طبق سهل بالنسبة للأمم الأخرى، حتى يعني نمشي ثقافتنا ونمشي. المهم هذا الكونسبت الأساسي. بس حاليا أنه إحنا الدايكوتومي اللي نسويه أو comparison اللي نسويها مجرد حتى نشوف ال cons and pros of this education system وهذا education system، وليش هذا excellent وليش هذا طبعا excellent from educational point of view within certain standards that qualify it and quantify it as being excellent, because we need to operationalize اللي هو مصطلح التيسول دائما نستخدمه. We need to operationalize whatever thing we're trying to present. حتى على أساس يكون measurable, quantifiable, qualifiable, valid, practical, يعني ضمن هذه المعايير اللي احنا نستخدمها بالmethods of research or research of English as a
And adding to this, Mr. Waleed, adding to this, you know, we have evidence that we are not comparing, but we are identifying. And the Iraqi students, يعني هذا النظام اللي حكينا عنه, the Iraqi students succeed in it because, you know, especially between, I think you were one of those students who were, you know, delegated to study. You came from a background, an educational background that is not the best.
No.
And then you went to one of the best educational systems in the United States. But despite all the challenges, all the barriers, all the difficulties culturally, linguistically, socially, but we found that Iraqi students stood out and they were prominent. So this means what? This means the system worked with them. So why don't we adopt it? It's not about, you know, those Americans are different and we are Iraqis are different. So, you know what I'm saying? So
حتى يبقى مسار يعني conversation مالتنا كلش productive. أنا ما أريد أخذ من وقتك، بس إن شاء الله نكمل حلقاتنا بلقاءات أخرى. أريد تركز لي بالعربي طبعا شنو النقاط الأساسية باحث الماجستير لازم يركز عليها حتى يكون excellent بالمجال مالته. ركز لي على 3-4 نصائح حكم تجربتك وأنت راجع من الولايات المتحدة وعندك حصيل كبير من المعلومات فيما يخص طلبة الماجستير وكونك درست هناك فترة.
3 things
اللي لازم يشتغل عليه طالب الماجستير.
3 things أستاذ وليد. critical thinking and critical thinking. هي المشكلة إنه ذول طلابنا كلهم عندهم أدوات جيدة. كلهم أدوات جيدة، بس هو وعنده البوتنشل الموجود بداخله، بس دائما أعتقد بسبب النظام التعويد والنظام التعليمي ووجود الأستاذ كهو الأوثوريتي وكذا، فتشوفه دائما يسأل. يعني هو تشوفه عنده إمكانية إنه يكتب في مجال معين، بس يروح يسأل فد 20-30 طالب سابقين أو أستاذ كذا شنو الأفضل هذا لو هذا. You do not need to ask. يعني ماكو داعي تسأل، إنه أنت the more حتى القراءة الريدنج دائما يجوني طلاب يقولوا لي دكتور مثلا احنا جاي نقرا بس ما نعرف شلون نقرا. طبعا هذه مشكله، ما نعرف شلون نقرا. هو ليش؟ لان هو السيستم اللي انت حكيت عنه بالعراق بالمؤسسه التعليميه العراقيه هو شنو؟ هو التلقين. هذا يتوقع مثلا بالماجستير تختلف عن البكالوريوس. بالبكالوريوس عنده كتاب واحد وينطوا فصل بالاسبوعين الثلاثه، فعنده وقت يسجهن يعني يحفظهن. بس بالماجستير راح يجي الاستاذ ينطي 3 مقالات لازم يقولون شلون نحفظها، ما يقولون شلون نفهمها، شلون نحفظها.
بس عيد لي هذا النقطة أستاذ أحمد، لأنه صوتك توقف وبعدين رجع. آخر 30 ثانية.
آخر 30 ثانية إنه كنت أقول إنه بالبكالوريوس الطالب اللي هو طبعا جيد. هو ليش صار بالماجستير جيد؟ هو الطالب كان متعود على التلقين، فكان عنده تكست، عنده منهج واحد، فيمكن فصل واحد يقوم بأسبوعين أو 3. بس بالماجستير يجي الأستاذ ينطيهم الأساينمنت عادة هواي باعتبار الماجستير، ينطيهم مقالتين أو 3، ينطيهم كتاب، وينطيهم كتابة بيبر أو تحليل أو استجابة للريدنج. فشي يتوقع الطالب من ينظر إلى هذه الكمية؟ ما ينظر إلى هذه الكمية إنه هذه content they need to understand. No, they look at it as a content they need to memorize. وهنا هي
خلي قبل لا نختم اللقاء خلي نسوي بحث مشترك نسميه to indoctrinate or not to indoctrinate. شنو رأيك؟
هو I always go with the not indoctrinate.
Okay.
Of course يعني.
حتى نلقن لو ما نلقن، هذا هو الفكرة الأساسية من أنه شلون واحد يطور to take English learning and teaching to the next level. أستاذ أحمد، هذا مو لقاءنا الأخير بإذن الله، عندنا لقاءات أخرى، بس أنا خايف الكهرباء تنطفي ويطفى البث ويعني نفقد الجزء المهم من حوارنا. فحتى نحافظ على الحوار على النقطة اللي وصلنا لها نبني من عند اللقاءات القادمة بإذن الله. أريد تفكر لي شلون نطور شلون ممكن من خلال تجربتك شلون ممكن نطور إمكانية البحث عند الطالب العراقي على الجلسة القادمة بإذن الله.
big topic. Yeah, of course.
ربي يحفظك أستاذ. شكرا لك وشكرا لقبولك الدعوة، ونلتقي بك بإذن الله في لقاءات قادمة.
الله ان شاء الله حبيبي.
مع السلامة.
ونشوفك زين، كل التوفيق. مع السلامه.
Good morning, good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. Doing all right. Just, every morning at the schools that starts off with no emergencies is a nice morning. So the first part of my day is often just waiting here, kind of like, and everything goes okay. And I'm like, okay, cool. I have free time now. So now, of course, it's the right time to make a call with you and just talk with you about all of the good things going on.
Well, I've been waiting for this meeting impatiently over the past month. And since we last time talked about your schedule and your busy, crazy, hectic kind of work at the Connect English. And since our last meeting, we've had lots of things going on, especially here in Iraq, starting to acceptably adopt the distance learning programs in universities, which is a good thing. Plus, there's this kind of openness to Moodle and distance learning programs out there. So there's some sort of credibility and authenticity and accreditation for this sort of programs that's been going on. And on this tandem, I want you to comment, first of all, tell us a little bit about the kind of program that you're running, because since our last meeting, those traffic of followers came to my page and your page that probably don't know a lot about how beautiful and good program you run down in San Diego, the sunny San Diego. And also tell us about how your teaching English has affected positively, of course, your learners and how they start learning English.
Great. Yeah, that's an excellent two-part question. I'll get to both parts. The first is, Connect English. We're a language school here in San Diego, California. Mm-hmm. And we try to be pretty affordable. But we don't want that to be a quality sacrifice. I used to work at a number of schools many years ago that if it was expensive, it was okay. If it was cheap, just don't expect anything. A cheap school meant, you just go there and maybe you'll learn a little bit, but mostly you learn from living in San Diego. And that's true. But I said, I want to show that a school is possible. It's possible to have a school that is affordable. It's not more than $1,000 or $1,400 a month like some, but that doesn't mean you're losing quality. You'll still have great teachers. And so we often joke about the secret sauce or the secret formula of Connect English. The secret formula is no secret. It's just good teachers, passionate teachers. Okay. So, we're not on the 17th floor of a skyscraper in downtown San Diego. It's a very normal building because, a beautiful view of the bay is nice, but to learn English, you need good classes, good teachers, good classmates. And that's what Connect English is all about.
Okay, that's very interesting, because I want to ask you if being in the United States, not speaking English, living with society, is it enough to learn language, or you should engage yourself in productive, heavily focused English program that gives you an eagle's eye about and of how English is used in society?
Well, my opinion is a little bit biased, so we have to accept that. Going to a school is going to help you grow so much more quickly. Yeah. I like to give the example of when I lived in Brazil, when I was trying to learn Portuguese. I thought that I could just take the path of I'll live in Brazil and I'm sure I'll figure out Portuguese. And 5 months in to living in Brazil, I was barely communicating, and I couldn't even help myself in an emergency.
You didn't know the ropes of how to get language in your net and make it part of your life, or was it just because you didn't know which track you should take in order to learn this language?
I was under a misunderstanding that immersion and living there was enough, and it might work, but really what changed was at 5 months I started cooperating with a Portuguese teacher, and she and I would do English lessons and Portuguese lessons, and I got to learn so much more about the fundamentals, the technical aspects of Portuguese. Suddenly everything started to come together, and I said, I really now understand how sentence structure works, and I understand the difference between this form of the verb and this form of the verb. And suddenly within literally a few weeks, I was much more confident. Thanks to some actual lessons, I was confident in communicating. And the same will go for learning English in the USA. You know, if you have classes where a number of days per week you are learning the fundamentals and reviewing vocabulary and asking questions of an expert, your teacher, then you're also going out in society and then using it to go buy a hamburger somewhere or to get a bus ticket to Los Angeles. Suddenly you're implementing everything, in the combination of the two things, the immersion in society plus the formal education. Those two things go together like peanut butter and jelly, you know. And so it's really important to have both aspects, because, you know, living in this society is going to help, but without the fundamentals to climb on, it's going to slow you down a lot. And I suffered through that when I lived in Brazil myself.
So paraphrasing what Nick has just said, I want you to follow the link to his page and give him a like and support and send him any kind of messages regarding English as a second language or as a foreign language. But before that, I want to paraphrase something that he quite significantly focused on, and that is, no matter how much or how many skills you possess in terms of understanding and speeding up your process of language learning, you should need get a mentor or somebody who facilitate and speed up, expedite your connection with language. And that comes easy and handy if you access a good professional language center, like we have the center in San Diego. It's Connect English. They have a beautiful page on Facebook. I highly recommend you follow. And we've been in touch. We've been friends for almost ever, me and Nick, and we kind of like try to introduce you to very organic approach to language learning. And this leads me to ask Nick to give us a comment. If I am a student at 101 ABC level English, what kind of tips do you recommend to a person who's starting as an adult to start learning English? What kind of tips do you have to have them do some shortcuts to get to the bread and butter, to the core of English and master it to the professional career level?
One of my favorite little tricks, and this is truly a little secret trick I like to recommend for students who've just arrived at our school. I say, make a point of making friends with someone from a different language. If you're in that 101 basic level, we say, you know, and you're, for example, a Japanese student from, you know, from Japan, become friends with someone from Jordan or someone from Egypt in the class, because you're gonna.
Translating what Nick has just said, يقصد أنه دائما حاول تخلي عندك أصدقاء، صديق من دول أخرى، من بلدان أخرى، حتى تمكنك من أنه تصير عندك access للغة أو مجال للولوج لهذه اللغة بطريقة أفضل. Sorry, Nick, but I wanted to translate that because it's very smart tip out there.
Clarity is important. So when you make friends, when a Japanese student and an Egyptian student, for example, make friends in the first week of their course and they have lunch together, they're going to say, okay, what is your job in Japan? And what are your hobbies? And how long do you plan to study? And it gives a real organic and sincere motivation to be using your English with your new friend. And that's a great thing, is to have someone who just can't speak your language, but who doesn't speak, say, Arabic. And so you have to communicate with them in English. You really want to, because you like this person, you enjoy their company. So you will be motivated to use and grow your English so that your friendship with this person can continue to grow. So
I have a lot of
the mixed class can help with.
I have a lot of followers on my Facebook page, and they send me so many frustrating messages saying that, well, I need to travel because this is the only way, this is the only access to learn English or any other language. And I keep telling them this is not true. You can stay and live up for 2 to 3 decades in the target country and you wouldn't master the language efficiently. So do you think it is necessary to travel to US or to UK to learn English, or you can learn it at your in your bed, probably in your bedroom, while you're just accessing the right materials distantly or face to face?
These days, it's getting easier than ever
Mm-hmm.
to learn online. But I'll say that I'm pretty impressed with a number of our students who joined online, during 2020 and 2021 from their home countries. They were joining at our highest level already. They were joining us at level 5 out of 5. So they were coming into the advanced classes, but they didn't have the skills yet of strong, listening skills. They didn't have the confidence yet to communicate with high level English speakers. And the classes help them say, wow, I'm communicating in English with a native English speaker, my teacher, and I'm listening to people talking in English at a higher speed about all kinds of topics online. And so there were plenty of students who came in who had strong fundamentals. They could almost teach the grammar class, the grammar aspects of the class, because they had been studying in their home country. They had never been to the UK. They had never been to the USA, Canada, Australia, but they were still already very strong. And our high level advanced classes were just a good way for them to talk and talk and talk and listen and listen and listen and build those skills that are a little harder to get a high dosage of in your home country. So
well,
they were impressively high level students.
For my followers on Facebook page, try to get as many lessons about pronunciation from Nick's page, Connect English, in San Diego, because he has very, very amazing kind of lessons about teaching pronunciation to non-native English speakers. And this leads me to a question to Nick. And the question is, I see you focus a lot on pronunciation. Is it important to focus on pronunciation when you speak English, and why? I want you to tell your followers and my followers a message about how important pronunciation is for English speakers.
Yeah. Obviously, it's my favorite thing to teach, which is why I do it all the time. I like teaching all topics, but pronunciation is really my favorite because I feel it's an area where I can make a fast, big difference for students. So I believe the importance of it is that when we're communicating on a basic level with people, a little bit of bad pronunciation is just another part of the confusion you're going to experience all the time.
Yeah.
But as you reach those higher levels and you talk more seriously, you're starting to do business in English, you're starting to travel using your English, you're starting to communicate with academic counterparts in other countries in English. That's when the pronunciation can cause confusion. Okay. One of the words, or two of the verbs that we included in yesterday's pronunciation class was leave and live, right? And very often students say, "Where do you leave?" And I say, "I leave. I leave through the door. I leave through the door." Like, yes, where do you leave? I leave through the door. And they say, "No, where is your house?" Like, oh, where do you live?
Okay,
and
perfect.
live
You got it right.
is very different from leave, right? And that can cause confusion, and we got to avoid confusion in conversations. Otherwise, we're defeating the purpose of communicating.
What's your message to people who think that British English is better than American English, or British accent is better than American accent? It's a kind of like chicken and egg kind of debate.
They're ridiculous.
And I get tsunami of messages out there saying that I want to focus on British English or British English because it's much better than American English. What's your message to them?
They both have their value. My equation, or my equivalence, I try to tell people, is it's Windows computer or Apple computer. Right?
Oh, perfect. That's a good analogy out there.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy.
Get a lot done with either one. If you understand a Windows computer, you can survive on an Apple computer, and vice versa. You're going to say, wait, what? But you're going to get the job done. So if you're really good at British English, you're going to be, if you're really good at British English and you come to the USA, you're going to say, oh, this is different, but I'm surviving, and vice versa. If you get a California accent like the cool people, okay, then you go to to London, you're still going to understand. Of course, the accents are going to be a little challenging, but that's anytime you're changing, you're going to have challenges. But they're both valid. I, of course, since it's mine, I prefer the California accent, the USA accent from California. I have a funny story, Waleed. I once had a student who messaged me and said, "Hey, Nick, I really love your pronunciation class, but could you please teach it with a British accent for me? And I said, hey, thank you for talking with me, but I'm sorry, it's going to be a California accent. I can't.
It's a trademark of Hollywood.
And teach a good. So I'm not an actor, so I can't teach my class with a British accent.
It's actually quite complicated. Do you think it's a matter of prestige and superiority of one accent over the other, while it's in reality a geographic distribution, and probably there is no. I mean, we can deal with them on equal level. There is no superiority or inferiority to one dialect or accent over the other. They're just perception of geographical difference and distribution. And probably this should be left to specialists and professional people who work in the master and PhD level. Like in our field, we study sociolinguistic distribution of dialects in Chicago and in Illinois and in California, and we study a different kind of geographic differences in accents and dialects. But that is for specialists because they're running research about it. But for general purpose, I mean, the whole purpose of language is to help people understand you and get understood. And the more you become straightforward with your English, and the more you become clearly understood, is far more important, and that is outweighing the significance of dialect and accent. We constantly pump up our students with more motivation to carry on because they feel frustrated and there's this kind of drop in the curve. So what's your motivational message to the learners of English around the world, and how they can maintain some sort of motivation while they are under lockdown or they are isolated at home because of Corona and COVID virus and their lack of contact with people?
Well, I would say that the lockdown is part of the adventure. You know, that's a nice way to say it. But you know, we will get through this. Society will survive. We're going to use our brains and we're going to get through. And it is brain power that's going to do it. And so using and strengthening your brain power during the pandemic is only going to make us even better at getting through the pandemic. And yes, it's not learning online is not our favorite way to do it. But what we've actually seen now is that a lot of our excellent teachers at Connect English who, you know, in the classroom, we were always amazed. Like, wow, she is a wonderful teacher. And then when we switched to online, we said in our minds, how are these teachers how successful can they be? And a lot of the teachers also were wondering, how am I going to be effective if my strongest skill is managing my classroom and making students work together in groups? How can I do that online? Well, we've learned how, and now these teachers are better than ever at online. And so,
probably while at the beginning of online,
it was a little the change. The change was a little challenging for everybody, but we're now accustomed to it. So now there's more access to excellent teachers online than ever before. You know, all of my teachers now are teaching private lessons in the afternoons because they're already skilled at teaching and they're great at online now. So you now have more access than ever. Yes, we're limited in our face-to-face interactions, and that is sad, but there is still so much you can be doing during this time. That when we emerge from the pandemic, we'll be great.
I think that's very important lesson that we can just dedicate probably 10-15 minutes sometime during this month to talk about student teachers online engagement and how you incorporate and what kind of strategies you incorporated, and it's just building on success stories from your teaching at the center and the kind of challenges that you've had there. But one last thing that I want to ask you, because I know that you're on tight schedule right now. You've been following my page, and there've ton of lessons that I post on a weekly basis and monthly basis. So which one caught your attention, and which one you think and you recommend to students, to my followers actually, that will get more benefits from if they focus on? This is probably very generic kind of question, but just tapping on your experience.
Well, this is something I was hoping you would bring up, because you and I have had some conversations about the kinds of content that you're creating for students. And I've been trying to think of a good way to express what I like about your content. It's that it's clearly things you like making. And it's like, so you're enjoying making it. And
definitely.
how do you think this this supports the students, and what are your perspectives on it? And it's similar to the way I do it. I love teaching the pronunciation class. And sometimes I am too busy to spend an hour doing it, but I have to remind myself, this is what you love, Nick. So do it because it makes you happy. You're creating content that students enjoy, and that's what you're doing also. You're creating content that you clearly have a passion for. And so you get students who can say, well, I couldn't watch it live, I was busy, but I can go on to Waleed's Facebook page, and I know that he's always got some fresh resources from 5 hours ago or from yesterday that I can go back and watch. And so I was going to tell you, as long as you're enjoying the content that you're creating and you have this passion for creating it, keep making it. And the students obviously trust you. They know how good of a job you do. So they know, you've got, I think, 250,000 followers or something like that. And so they will go to your page and find a library of content that you created the last week and the last month. So keep on going with creating that video content that you made. I saw the Peppa Pig video and I stopped and watched it, and I was like, I like this. And it's just, most of us are familiar with Peppa Pig because we've had children in our lives. So yeah.
I think principally speaking, I build the content on my page on two standards or two principles: the background knowledge of learners and its relevance, the content's relevance to society. Because most of our reaction to language is built on the social stimuli of what language is and how we can correspondingly use it with what we call them interlocutors. And the kind of background knowledge is built on the heritage, folklore, any kind of narrative that is built with content from the culture, because of course, we cannot dissect culture from language and vice versa. So, for example, the story I just posted a few minutes ago was on Juha and his donkey, and it's from the Arabian Nights. And this has more incremental response by the viewers because it's part of the background knowledge of children and young adults. And it's relevant because I chose intentionally the kind of vocabulary to help them understand and use them in a social context, and they are learnable, they are usable, they are active vocabulary. So probably these two standards are the major standards on which I'm building the content online. But I'm always tapping on your experience, since you are a very effective and successful English teacher who's been exposed to multinationalities and have had contact with so many nations and so many students. And that's why I'm always learning from you, especially your energetic power, your vibe that you send to students, whether that's online or face-to-face. And they're lucky. Your students are very lucky, actually, to be able to learn from the kind of sources that you're providing them in Connect English. Nick, thank you so much. We hope that we make this sustainable contact on a monthly basis, just to give our learners more motivation to help them in building their English constructively and also positively. Thank you for your positive vibe. Thank you for your energy. You should know that we follow you from Baghdad and from around the country. I keep spreading a word about your center and about your activities in the center. And if somebody doesn't tell you you're a great teacher and whatever you're doing is great, just know that 4,000 miles away, some people are watching and expecting your lesson in the morning.
Wonderful. Thanks, Waleed. I always love these conversations. I love how much deeper your questions go. They're not these surface level questions. They end up going like, well, I love the depth of your questions. And this is great content for your followers because it's good English practice and it's motivational. People need motivation right now. And it's our job, my job and your job to keep people moving along, keep us communicating, and happy to do so. So thanks for communicating with me, and let's do it again soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay in touch.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Have
a good one. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay.
What
if it
happened is that I cut my hand with the pickle jars that we put it outside our homes. It's a traditional Iraqi thing. What's happened is that a month ago, it was a winter, it was cold, and we used to wear heavy clothes, and we put the pickle jars usually at the edges of the window because it's big and it will not fit into the refrigerator. So I was walking beside it, and my baby, you know, the children, they would not walk beside you or behind you. They walk between your legs. So he was in front of me, and I felt that it was, I hit the glass, the jar, and I felt that it will fall out and hit my baby. So I pushed it into the window with my hand. And when I pushed it, it was broken. It broke into the window and the glass returned back to my hand, and I cut it between the middle and the ring finger. And it takes 5 stitches after that.
Well, thankfully your hand is safe right now, and you're just fully recovered. And I hear that you have done a great sacrifice right now. Today is just to probably say hi to you and just do a little bit of chat about your plans and what you've done through the critical time that you've gone through in the past. Generally speaking,
I was thinking about the planning. Well, I was just thinking about planning and time management because I was lost in the last month.
Okay.
And
what do you mean? What do you mean you were lost?
I didn't. When I want to recall what I did in the last month, I cannot recall actually because it was nothing beneficial. I just took care of my hand and went to a lot of doctors and consulted a lot of doctors, and nothing in particular. Well, it was nothing. So when I returned back to study and take my briefs and summaries, I found that I missed a lot. I was yes.
Well, can you just specifically
a lot of things?
Like, for example, I want you to be more specific actually here. When you say you missed a lot, do you mean in terms of life, in terms of social activity, or?
No, not in social activities or in life, but I mean in my study, because I was very good. I was reading, I read a lot, and I watched a lot of educational videos, and I had a lot of briefs, and
that's why you should use. That's why you should use this.
Yes, I have 2 of it.
Okay. You have 2?
Yes.
Well, would it be possible to tell me a little bit about which one you use with me, and why do you use 2 instead of 1?
The first one is for this, like, sketches, like it's the draft. I put things, and nothing particular, but you know, when I hear something that I like, I just write it down, and the other one is arranged and well organized with colors. It contains a lot of information that I can return to it, and when I read it again, I can understand a lot of it. But the first one,
is it like a daily journal that you keep record of the kind of activities that you do, or is it something different?
Yeah, something like that. Because before my accident, I tried to do some of time management, like, you know, to record how I am spending my time, my typical day. Like I had
what kind of recording?
A logbook of how I spend my day, what kind of activities that I'm doing in a typical day, what are the things that I have to get rid of, and what are the things that I have to spend more time to do. But you know, I just missed the last month.
May I cut you in here?
Yes.
Do you use iPhone or Android?
No, I don't like the technology, actually. I have to.
What kind of phone do you have?
Xiaomi. It's Xiaomi.
Xiaomi, okay. Well, there's this kind of interesting application. It's called Live Transcribe. I don't know if you can access your phone to install it from the App Store or Android, Google Play. It's called Live, Live Transcribe. And let me just type it up here so you can have a look. Unscribe. It's a kind of yellow tag application that seems to people like any normal application out there, but it's really important. Like you can write a chapter of a book literally in half an hour or less if you have the idea on top of your mind. And I'll tell you how. So this is my phone. Do you see my phone?
Yes.
It's full of fingerprints. So what happens is, let me just pull out the application here. Now the app is offline. You just need to have the application online to get it started working. And what happens, as you can see right now, while I am talking, see what's happening on the screen. I just yeah. It's see, I don't know if you see a clear image of the screen because it's not in the direct focus. I think I should put it next to my face here. But you see, while I am talking, what happens?
It's recording your words?
It's recording everything I say with interruptions and you can delete that later on by copying the text and put it in a Microsoft Word. But it's really interesting. Like it literally, transcribe every single word. Like, look at it. I'm talking to you right now, and it just literally finished up 2.5 pages of text. Do you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, now talk, and it's going to directly record your speech. Just talk.
Okay. Hello, how are you? Are you hearing me? Yeah, it's interesting.
It's really recording all of that. So it's quite interesting. Like this is an amazing thing that helps you a lot if you are into like because you have very smart mind, and what happens is that sometimes your handwriting is slower than your mindset or mind thoughts, and you just need to type very quickly. And a lot of people actually are not tech savvy. Tech savvy means they are what we call tech savvy. People who love technology, they just prefer to write down slowly things on a notebook like this.
This is
and
me.
Sometimes they miss the instantaneous idea that just pops up in their mind, and they just want to quickly write it down because sometimes it just goes away, it evaporates. So you just need an application that matches your mind thinking speed. What I did, I used this application, and because I speak kind of relatively faster than normal, and I want to say something, I just pull it up and start automatically recording, and I just leave it on the side while I'm talking, and then it records everything, and I can do proofreading and editing later on, and I just filter any kind of unnecessary words to put it in the final shape, and then eventually, dedicating that as a part of a chapter that you can use in your story or your blog or whatever you like. And this is really important. Maybe it doesn't seem feasible or easy in the beginning, but it's truly useful.
No, it's great. I liked it.
I hear that you're flipping some pages out there. So what kind of information you write normally on these journals, and where do you want to take these journals to in your life? Where do you see these journals in the upcoming year?
They are mostly words and phrases that I'm not aware of it. I wasn't aware of it, so I write it down so I can use it. You gave me a piece of advice that if I want to improve my English, I have to expose it and I have to use it. So sometimes I put it in front of me and I try to use it literally.
Would you please tell me more details about how you incorporate this kind of use and make it more learnable to you? How do you incorporate this list of things that we normally talk about to make them usable and accessible and useful to you in your life. But give me a detailed answer, like walk me through what you do and how you render it useful to you.
You mean you want me to talk about my journey during our lessons and what did I? Okay.
Yeah, that gives me insight. That gives me an insight on what kind of learner you are and what kind of things that might be useful to me as an English teacher to help you with in the future.
Before I started the sessions, I think I told you that I'm not a planner human being. I do not like to put plans, or I do not plan to the future. So I felt that from one session to another, I started to have a logbook of my own to write down what I want to do and to return back to it and see if I did it or and how the way I did it. I was, there was a very long period that I didn't read anything, any book, any words. I didn't use the translator. I didn't new words. But I was more interested in opening the dictionaries and returning back to my old book and to see more, to take more informations and recall my informations. I started to use I started even to watch videos that for time management, for behavioral changes. I tried to apply that into my life. Right now.
No, this is very valid. This is very valid point. You mentioned about something about behavioral change. What kind of video did you watch about behavioral change and how you alter your behavior? Was it based on the book of The Power of Habit, or was it just generally on one of the videos?
Yes. It was very interesting for me. That book was very inspiring for me. I'd like to know more about it and to know more details about it, because the book was talking about experiment, scientific experiment, and certain type of experiences of some of the models were there. But I wanted to learn more about that in the normal life or typical ordinary life. So I started to search about it. I'm planning something. It is ironic, but I don't know. I started to take feng shui.
That's really good. That's really good. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It was the first lesson the last week, and it is not arranged till now because they want.
Try to reproach me for this kind of art, this kind of meditation, or this kind of sport. How do you think it's useful to you?
When I feel it is useful for me because I feel my life is very restricted in very close area, like my baby, my home, there is no job, no study. So I need to create more energy and power for myself so I can achieve other or plan for more for my future. So I feel that I believe in it. I told you before that I did meditation myself before, and I did meditation exercise before, but not the way that I see it in feng shui science. It's very peaceful, and it really makes you feel the positive energy, and it will make you get rid of all the negative energy inside of you, and to defeat the negative energy that surrounds. I knew about candles. We had a lesson talking about the candles, the kinds of candles, and what are the colors, what does it mean, and how can you what are the elements of feng shui. Like it is the heat and the water and the metals. So I knew about the candles first, and I'm preparing to buy a set of candles.
What caught your attention to be involved in this sort of activity?
As I told you, I felt that I'm restricting myself to very limited objects and things in my life. Like I'm taking care of everything else except myself. So I'm trying to focus and release the positive energy inside of me and getting rid of the negative energy that's surrounding me. That's
what kind of negative energy do you mean? Would you please, what we say, specifically describe the kind of negative energy? Because understanding what negative energy is step number one to resolve the conflicts of negative energy. I think it is necessary to
when you are trying to be the number one, always be the number one, as I used to do when when you stumble, you stumble.
Yes, I love this word. Oh my God, I love it. It's, yes, definitely, it's a stumble.
And you get shocked, and you get nervous, and you blame everything, and you blame the surroundings, and you blame yourself for your bad decisions. But actually, there's nothing bad, and you are going very smoothly. But we cannot realize that until we learn how to focus on that and how to be grateful for that.
But don't you think that stumbling and tripping down is part of life? It's like life is not going in linear.
This is the thing that I've learned recently. Yeah, it's normal to stumble. It's normal to fall out, not only stumble, to fall down.
No, okay, that's quite interesting. But the idea is that I've been in this kind of loop for a long time, and I could perceive life in the beginning of my journey with studying and with academic field as it's a competition with my colleagues, and I've been trying always to excel and become better. And
this is the bad thing that we have learned in our high school: competition. It is not competition. You are doing the things for yourself, not to compete with other people. You are doing things for you to success, not for others to say, "Oh my God, he succeed."
It's a kind of thing that is in my DNA actually to compete, but I definitely attribute that to how we were taught and how we were educated in the elementary school, where the excellent students get hailed and get greeted by the administration and by their fellow friends and teachers, and every look goes towards them. And but that's exhausting on the personal level, because you need to always embellish yourself and show people that you have excellent skills and unparalleled level of
we are continuously and consistently pushing on yourself and your abilities, and sometimes you don't have enough energy to go on. And competition sometimes makes you envy others and become
envy others.
Envy others and become jealous, and this is very unhealthy thing. I'm trying to, like when I was in the college, I was amazing, like really, really amazing, especially in the practical sessions. I thought that I'm gonna be a professor or something. I will not stop studying until I get the prof degree. But the lazy students now have their own clinics, and I am sitting in the home. This is kind of energy that I want to get rid of. I don't want to envy others. I don't want people to jealous. It is just not my time. It is not my time right now, but my time will come, of course, later on.
Well, I just recorded a voiceover kind of story. It's called Juha and his donkey. It has a moral lesson actually, and the moral it's quite interesting story. You probably heard about Juha, of course, and his donkey and the kind of funny stories that he had in his life. Probably it's going to be useful to let your children listen to this kind of story. And it talks about his journey with his son and his donkey, and he was walking to the market and he was riding the donkey, and his son was pulling the donkey in front of him. So he passed by a group of people and they said, "Why do you ride the donkey while you are the father and your son is pulling you, where you should take care of your son because your son is young and he cannot do this kind of exhausting work." So he went off, he got off the donkey and he let his son ride the donkey. So when they walked a few miles away, they saw a group of women, and the woman said, "That's really humiliating. Why do you put your son on the back of a donkey and you're pulling the donkey, where he should honor you and let you ride the donkey since you are older and you're his dad and whatever." And what he did was he took his son and he let him ride the donkey with him. So they were both riding the donkey and walking to the market. So when they arrived in the market, people were criticizing them for exhausting the donkey because they are both riding the donkey. And the moral lesson is that impressing people and trying to follow what people tell you is always exhausting. You just need to do whatever you think is right, regardless of what people think. How is this compatible with your current philosophy as opposed to your previous philosophy in life?
Well, as you said, the people will always judge you negatively. It is only your parents will judge you positively, so you have to learn not to listen. This is one of the lessons that I've learned. I don't have to listen to anyone else except myself, and I have to arrange my ideas according to the things that I already have, because a lot of like the honor I also read and I don't know if I read it or I see it in the video, the owner of Amazon and Alibaba.
Jeff Bezos, yeah.
And the other one, the owner of Alibaba site. And the McDonald's, the old man that owned McDonald's restaurants. They did their dreams and they make it come true at 60s. So they didn't care about the people. They didn't care about what they are saying about them, about their judgment. They only tried their best, and the opportunity came to them afterward. So I think feng shui will be very beneficial for me in the few weeks, next few weeks.
Well, so what do you want to accomplish from applying candles and feng shui art on your life in general? What's your target? Because I want you to tell me about your target. Probably telling me is going to reshape better and positively your perception of your target or your objective and what your sense of accomplishment is.
Yeah, I told you that competition make me envy my friends and make me jealous that they have their dreams came true and they have their own clinics and their logos with their name. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be like more convinced with the things that I have, because I may have more than they do. This makes me nervous, and not sometimes I feel that I become closed-minded, not open-minded. So I needed relaxation in this period, and my hand accident just like a hit on my head to start that actions. Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's very impressive, especially from the point that you put it. And probably the kind of activities that you do, the kind of escapism, or the sense of activities that you plan to do will ultimately help you get rid of some of the stress that comes collaterally as a part of living in a tense sort of environment like the current environment that we live in. There is this kind of question that comes to me all the time, and the question is whether living in a very tense environment gives value to people more than living in a relaxed environment or not. Because every one of the environments, like living in Iraq with this unpredictable scenarios where there is always constant change of plans and no predictable set of kind of activities that you need to do in order to get your results, versus living in Finland where there is very high level of education, the value of security and the value of stability is really high. What are the positives and negatives of living in Iraq versus living, for example, abroad or emigrating abroad?
Well, I think we had very interesting features that we have learned from our, let's say, bad circumstances, and adaptation. We developed this like behavior or habits of adaptation, and moving on, we adapted ourselves to the bad circumstances and to the tragic issues that we are subjected to, and despite that, we go on. We didn't like, I will use the same term, we didn't stumble a lot, or we didn't fall down a lot. Like, bring anyone from Finland or USA or from Netherlands or any place with the high security and better education chances, and make him live here in Iraq. He will do nothing. He will absolutely nothing, because he will not be able to adapt to the circumstances. Really, they will not be able to defeat those circumstances. So I think we became very brave and courageous.
Is it a mental immunity that people gain by just getting yourself naturalized or acclimatized to this sort of unpredictability living in Iraq, or is there any kind of mental process that happens in a very high densely risky environments that just make people resist abnormality?
I think without this resistance that we feel, and without the nature of adaptation that we develop, we couldn't survive so far, because everything is abnormal, everything is beyond normal, but despite that, we have when you go to the European countries or USA, you can see Iraqi people with very high levels and they are very respected, and because they used to live in very bad circumstances. They used to live in a very short resources. So when they will will travel, or when they have better positions, they will do their best, and they will be better than they will be the best. So it is a good thing. I think the pressure upon ourselves can make us learn more.
What are the 3 major concerns that just add more stress to your life, that just let you find alternatives to cure that?
The major what? 3 major what?
The major sources of stress in your life.
I think first, not completing my degree. This is a nightmare for me. It is not only a concern. Not completing
it's coming.
my
Don't
degree.
worry about it.
Yes. The second thing is that I cannot assure my baby the kind of life that I imagined that I can do before. Because, you know, I'm a doctor and my husband is an engineer, and we have to, we are obligated to create the better circumstances and environment for him. This is the second major concern.
From an educational point of view, you cannot teach your children anything. You can only provide
I have to create
the context for them to learn.
Yeah, I have to create a healthy environment, and so they have the standards that they can follow it, or they can create their standards according to what I perform to them. The third one, I don't know. What is the third major concern?
Okay. Well, keep thinking about the third one.
Yeah, I will keep thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you're back in shape. I haven't noticed any retrogression, actually. I still see the positive vibe. I still see the positive energy. I still see the same sanguine kind of person out there who's talking to me. Sanguine is optimistic or positive, especially in difficult situations. I haven't noticed any retrogression at all. What we are going to do in our next meeting is to get you back in shape in terms of the kind of task that I've assigned you to do. You have only one major task, which is resume reading The Power of Habit, starting from where you finished, and then prepare a short presentation for 30 minutes to walk me through the details of the kind of chapter that you are going to read and how it is relevant to your life. Again, next, read the next chapter of The Power of Habit where you paused, and prepare a short presentation. You do not have to make any PowerPoint or anything. You just need to write down major points you're going to focus on, thinking of how reading that part is relevant to your life, drawing on any kind of experiences or thoughts. My major point or objective or goal of having you do that is to help you speak for half an hour consecutively, stretching out your speaking skills, and also training yourself to do public presentations where you can prove to people that you are an effective speaker, and also bridging the gap of relevance between what you read and how it is relevant to your life. Is this clear?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I want you to do a great job, and I'm fully confident that you can do that. You may expect some pauses, and I totally expect some sort of interruptions, because I will be asking you so many questions regarding that. So keep me posted, and let's meet Sunday, or what today is, well, Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's meet on Sunday, inshallah, and walk through that process. Is that okay?
Okay, yes, it is.
Perfect. Well, I really enjoyed your conversation, and
Me
I'm
too.
pretty happy that you just came back in shape.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome, my dear. Stay in shape, stay positive, and say hi to Jafar, and looking forward to see you on Sunday.
Okay, bye. Have a good night.
Have a good night too. Bye-bye. To get the real organic feeling.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Tell me, my question was, just before we get started, my question was related to what you did yesterday. And if it's not a secret, you can just tell me details about it.
No, it's not a secret, actually. It's something universal, I think. It was very, sorry, just let me arrange my things. It happened all around the earth, I think. It was the night of the super or giant moon. I don't know what is the exact term. And it was a night filled with power and energy. Like, it is the period or the time when the moon is the closest to the earth. So there will be a very powerful effect of the agenda flow, and you can even feel it on your body or the way you think. Yesterday had a lot of energy, it was positive and negative one. Like the negative, as I said, regarding the moon and its effect on our body and on the entire earth, and positive because yesterday was something religious. I don't want to talk about things related to religion, but it was something an event for the Islamic world, and they have celebrated, and so it has the positive energy. Because as they said that the night before, it was the night where God will allocate the livelihood of the people. So you have to relax and to thank him for the gifts that you have. I don't know if you believe in such things, but I believe in it.
Tell me more.
What?
Tell me more about that kind of thing that you just mentioned here, about yesterday.
Which part of it?
The creation of human being you mentioned, or
no,
what?
I said the livelihood of the human being.
I'm not exactly sure what that means, and that's why I'm asking further elaboration.
Yes, just let me check it. It is the livelihood, yes.
What's the equivalent to that in Arabic?
الرزق, أرزاق.
Okay.
Livelihood. I don't know. Yes, it is livelihood.
Okay. And what are you supposed to do? What kind of rituals are you supposed to do in this rituals?
I mentioned that it was a night full of negative energy at first, because the moon is very close to the earth, so it has the power, the gravity power over the water in the earth, and since the body is consisting of 70% of water, so you can feel it. You will feel more exhausted, tired, or this will make you somewhat moody. So you have to relax, and I told you have to light a candle and to do some meditation. And it is also powerful day regarding something religious related to the Islamic world. Where
what is it? Tell me more about it. I think
the thing that I know about it is that, as I said, it is the day that or the night where the God will give the people their what they need to live the next year. Yeah, this is all that I know about it. But my mother taught me about some ritual. She said to bring a yellow paper and write something from Quran in red pen and just put it under the moon.
Under the moon?
Yes, under the giant
Like,
moon.
like
Yeah, I
you
did
write
it.
it and you just write it, raise it up like this, and in a position that seems to the eye lower than the moon.
Yeah, it's under the moon, so it's
And what
exposed
is
to the
that?
moon.
What is that supposed to affect the positive and negative? I'm just inquisitive, to be honest, and also curious to help you elaborate on this kind of particular topic in English, just in case sometime in future you may come across a visitor from another country or another universe, and he wants to understand the context and the rituals that you're doing in this kind of occasion. Because I've had this kind of situation, and it was a little bit embarrassing to me the first year where I was I was in the US, and I was staying with a host family, and it was on November, I think November 11th or something like that. It was Halloween. I don't know exactly what date that is, but it was in November. And the host's mother was doing some cooking in the kitchen, back in the kitchen. The kitchen is in the back of the house, and I was so overwhelmed with the amount of work that I was supposed to do, submit some deadlines for my college. I was sitting on a couch in the meeting room in the guest room, and I heard a knock on the door, with a little bit of kids talk outside. I didn't know what was happening. To be honest, it was my fault because I was not educating myself enough with the culture there at the beginning, of course. So I opened the door, and there were a bunch of kids, and they were telling me trick or treat, and I was like, what? And they said trick or treat, and then I said,
Nothing
what do
gets
you
old,
mean?
just go away.
What do you want? What do you mean? What's a trick? What's a treat? And then one of them said, well, are you going to give us candies, or we should leave you here? And and I was like, okay, for candies I can give you that, but what's a trick? Because deep in my subconscious mind I was like thinking, should I like trick them to do something, or like play some hand gestures? I didn't know what was going on, actually. So I heard the hosting mother approaching me from my back, and she said, well, just give them some chocolate and some candies. And she had a basket that she went out sometime earlier, and she got it from Trader Joe's, which is a supermarket there. And that was just because I didn't have enough enlightenment or education about that particular cultural thing. And this is something that should be taken care of by learners once they start learning English, and they need to understand culture as well. So that's the point. Yeah. So tell me about what your mom taught you in details more, and then we can transition to the next part of our conversation.
Yes, like when you want to improve your salary or your income, or you want to improve your living style, you needed money, so you will have to ask it politely from your God. That's what we did yesterday. We did some prayers, we read Quran, we light candles, and we bought some the sweets, and we make desserts. And we did
Thank
such a
you. It was
ritual, like-
delicious.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And we did this yellow paper thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that we did is that we pick up like a grab. It is a grab of beans.
Okay.
And you have to take each one and to read some also Quran on it, and to blow on it, so you can save it for the rest of the year to cook it whenever you cook the beans, to put some of it on your meals. It will make you healthy, I hope. I don't know what is the origin of these things, actually. I don't know if it is correct or not, but when you believe in something, it will happen, I think.
I think that's absolutely true, regardless of the religion or ethnicity or race or belief.
These are true and powerful, like the curse that happened in Egypt. It is something weird. You heard about the disasters that they are suffering from it right now because of Pharaoh and its curse.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's true.
Well, I'm not sure if that is in alignment with the kind of activity or rituals that you did yesterday.
No, it is another thing, but the power of such things exists.
Mm-hmm. It exists with limitations, but I think it's the human perception of natural phenomenon and also some spirituality out there that may interfere. Everybody has his own beliefs and his own principles on which they build certain societal behaviors, and one of them is the impact or the influence of religion on the social behavior, because this is something that lots of people actually get affected by, whether they do that and that makes logical sense to them or does not make any sense to them. Rewinding back to the beginning of reading of The Power of Habit, you remember when we started to draw an analogy between the habits that we perform on a daily basis and how they impact our success in life, and the habit of doing 5 prayers a day, and how that kind of relevant. And we draw on some religious verses from Holy Quran, where in reality they do not make sense. Like, why do we have to do this action repeatedly on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis? And we keep doing this from early age in our life to the moment of death. Why do we have to do this consistently? And why do we have so disciplined? It seems to me there is an underlying interpretation for that, and that is certain disciplines and certain principles may affect subconsciously the person's social performance and interaction with people, and his commitment to fulfill his promises or success in life, or completing and fulfilling any gaps in his career.
Exactly.
I'm listening.
Hello?
I hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so building on that, what are you preparing to talk to me about today? I think we have talked about something interesting that you're going to do this week regarding one of the chapters and your presentation of that. And I'm very excited to give you the floor and shoot the ball in your court so you can just energetically present something.
The ball in my court or my ground?
It's the ball is in your court. That's the expression. That we can throw it in your ground if you like that. I mean, or we can throw it in Zayuna if you like. It's up to you. Choose whatever you like. Pick and choose.
Okay. Then this chapter will talk about the willpower.
Uh-huh.
So it is the main key. What is the main thing that we are going to talk about, which is the willpower.
Okay.
The willpower is
to be on the same page. I want you to specify the type, the chapter that you're focusing on,
is the fifth one,
and the key elements that you're going to focus on. So primarily speaking, we've covered some of the major thoughts in chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I feel that we haven't fully covered chapter 4, but shifting to chapter 5 here and talking about that may give us some keystones about willpower and what it is.
So
and this is
it's all related to each other. Like in each chapter, they add a little. I think this chapter added a little to my knowledge or information because they already mentioned it in the previous chapters. They just talk about one of these keystone habits that matters in our life, which is the willpower. So willpower is one of the keystone habits that will is very important, that will lead us to success. It is the habit that will enable us to do whatever we are planning to do or we meant to manage to do. So it's fortunately that the willpower is it's also a skill. It is a learnable skill, and it's something like a muscle that they describe it as a muscle that when you just train it or exercise it regularly, then it will get larger or bigger, or it will be more powerful. So when this muscle is strengthened, then this habit or this keystone habit will spill its effects over other parts of our lives. So it will enable us to do whatever task that we want to accomplish so easily and smoothly. It will, because things now are becoming automatic, we will have to do less work to achieve what we want to achieve. And the other important thing of willpower, it will help us to change our way of thinking. Like, for example, when we feel hungry and we want to take, we can take a piece of apple instead of a piece of cookies. So it will help us to distract ourselves from such temptations. I will try to link it more to, you said you have to link it more to in a practical life. Willpower will also enable us to have more self-discipline and more self-control, and this is very important to step in management. Like for me, I decided a few months ago to do some domestic management, budget, to set a budget for spending. I set a plan for my spending. So I said that I should only spend money on the necessary things. I have to visit the markets and malls less oftenly. I have to even surf internet less oftenly, because it's full of pages with things that will tempt us to buy the way they so it sometimes force you to buy it. I said, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So I think this is something related to that subject, which is the willpower. I felt it's very hard in the beginning because I used to buy whatever I want, or I went to the mall whenever I want and buy everything I want. This is very wrong behavior and habit. This is the first thing that I felt that I link it to this chapter.
I want to comment on this because I'm still struggling with this spending and budget planning, and I was reading the Rich Dad and the Poor Dad. It's a very popular book, and there was this quote that just caught my attention quite impressively, and he said that there's misconception about honestly about about talent and spending and behavior, and he said that spending money is not related to talent, it's more related to behavior, and he's linking on how rich people are not rich only because they are smart, but because their behavior is smart. So they are very keen to improve their spending behavior, and it has nothing to do with your talent. And he's giving examples where, like for example, Nikola Tesla, he's one of the smartest people on earth. He's the inventor, I think, of so many inventions. He died very poor with the amassed amount of inventions that he had, but he ended up poor. So the idea is that spending money is not related to being intelligent, talented or not, but it's being aware or conscious about the behavior. And if we switch our behavior, we can definitely it's a behavioral crisis. It's not a talent crisis.
Yeah, it's related to willpower. If you have more self-control,
it is.
You will have to you can overcome this temptation.
We definitely can. We definitely can. It comes with a little bit of course, patience and dedication. I'm still struggling. Actually, we're on the same boat in terms of in terms of spending. And the more I become conscious about spending less, I spend more. Yep.
You need the willpower again.
I definitely need willpower. I have a few questions here, but I would like to give you more space, more time, more room to elaborate more, because I do not want to dictate and dominate the conversation right now. It's your turn, and I think it's a privilege to hear you more saying things about this and what you learned and how it is linked to your life and what you learned from the chapter.
Okay. The other thing I noticed that things that related to willpower and self-control that I did is that the exercise thing. Well, my whole life before marriage, I was very skinny girl, but I gained weight a lot after pregnancy and giving birth. So I didn't know what is exercise. I didn't know how to manage my appetite because I was always skinny. I can eat anything I want or whenever I want. So I struggled so much with the idea of restraining myself from having anything that I want to eat and doing exercise. But again, with the practicing and with encouraging myself, I try to do exercise at least twice weekly. I even separated the things on the kitchen, like for example, when you're working in a place, it will try to rearrange things that everything will be on the reach on your hand, like everything close to everything, and you can reach it whenever you want. So what I did is that I separate everything like the bowls in a place and the dishes in another place and the oil in another one. So
Is this to help you move around
yeah,
a little
so
bit
I
more?
can move more likely when I need something during cooking or cleaning. Now I will shift to another link, which is far away from the first one, which is when I read the story about the Starbucks and it's the way they manage it and they fund it. I remembered our first days in the hospital. It was a huge difference between what like the managers and executives in Starbucks did and what I've learned or didn't learn in the hospital. Like they were care about the employee training and they spend a lot of money on training sessions and educate them how to behave, how to control themselves, to control their anger or their emotions. I can guarantee that none of this happened, and this is only Starbucks, but none of this happened in a very sensitive place like a hospital. We didn't have such training at all. We didn't have any instructions. I remember that the first few months in the college, they will always, I was always laughing when they said, call me doctor. I said, they should not say that I'm a doctor. They should not call me a doctor. I do not earn this title yet. I'm still a student. So I laugh when they say doctor, but they were aware about that thing. So they said, do not be shy when we called you doctor. You have to believe that you are doctor from now. Not because you are in your first few days or you're still a student, that means that you are not doctor. No, but you are in your first steps for this title. So you have to be self-confident. You have to feel a pride. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe that you earn it. You earned that title. I can assure you that all of these positive feelings were smashed in the first few months after the practical life, because I lost my self-confidence, I lost my pride, I lost the belief in myself, because as I said, there was no basic rules that we followed. We didn't know what are the
It's
like
called rules of engagement.
Nobody taught us. Nobody at all. They just throw us into the world and they say go, and you have to do whatever you want to do. So we felt that we are in a loose ground. I
think that's pretty much the case in a lot of universities when they reach the buffer or the buttress of writing a research paper at the last year of their bachelor degree, and they haven't had any kind of background introduction to what research methods are and how they conduct a complete clean research paper that does not have any plagiarism or any citations that are not quoted. It's actually a dilemma for a lot of people, and I totally sympathize with this sort of problem that a lot of people actually, especially in Iraqi universities, go through. Keep going, please. I like to hear more, but I'm writing few comments here.
Oh, I remember something.
Yes.
One of the things that was in my mind, I think the last month, that I want to take my child to a music session or for a sport like swimming, any kind of sport, because he's very active, and I want to get
ground
the advantage of that behavior. Yes. They mentioned that in this chapter. They said it is very healthy to do such a thing, because it's not the idea that you take your kids to learn to play a certain type of instruments to be a musician in the future, but it will enable that child to be to feel obligated to something, or he will feel like more restrained or something like that. So I was proud of myself because I'm on the right.
When we talk about kids teaching and kids nurturing in a social context, we definitely should refer to the experiential learning approach, and that is getting learners to real life experience on which they can do some conclusions and deductions and build their analysis and their logical understanding of what's going on and what this phenomenon is, because most of our learning is based on our experiences and what we've gone through. And the majority of great and successful people have built their entities and their existence on experiences that they've gone through. Like, you come across a lot of people who feel confident when they present themselves, and that is just because they didn't wake up last night with a boost in their confidence. No, it's just they've gone through so many experiences that they sharpen their skills, and they have developed a sense of control of audience and control of voice and control of cadence and control of pitch, and all of that has contributed to who they become, building on where they're coming from. And it's quite important that you have a point that you just raised, and that is early in your childhood you had a dream to become who you are, maybe, and it was pretty much the same thing that when I was in the elementary school, for some reason, maybe it's a divine reason, maybe it's a career that was planned to me, I was dreaming to become a translator and an English teacher. So one day I was hanging out with my uncle, and we were just sitting and chatting in the farm, and he said, "What do you want to be?" And I said, "I want to be a translator." And they were laughing. So fast forward a few years in the intermediate school, it's a secondary school. At that time, teachers were asking us pretty much the same question, like, what do you want to be? And the default answer is an engineer, a doctor, a pilot. And none of them said anything about languages and learning languages and teaching languages. And the female teacher asked me, what do you want to be? And I said, I want to be a translator. So the whole classroom was laughing at me, because the word translator didn't come through their ears as a standard word. At that time, the word translator was kind of like mystery to some of them. That they know medicine, they know engineering, they know pilotage, but they haven't heard of so many people who worked as translators. So when I mentioned that, and the teacher was very impressed, and she supported me, and she gave me lots of comfort that I can achieve that. And now I can find myself within the field and territory of language teaching and
well, when they asked me such a question when I was a primary school, I said that I want to be a flight attendant.
Okay. And how did that
the teacher
change?
laughed at me and said, "What? Are you serious? Do you know what flight attendants are?" I didn't know what did she mean. But
yeah, I mean, it's sometimes we choose these jobs because probably somebody tells us that this is what you are meant to be. Like, I have always thought of my mom, because she always perceived of me as a male nurse.
Mm.
And because I had white skin back in my young age, I was very white. And it was like I was really, really white. I was blonde. I didn't have black hair at that time. And they were thinking of me as a nurse, as a doctor, and I was so passionate about being a linguist. A linguist is somebody who works with languages. He's a linguistician. And that was my passion, and I've gone through all the challenges to just break the rule and convince them, tell them that this is not what I meant to be. This is not. I'm not entitled to be a nurse. I am not good with blood. I'm not good with patients. I, I mean, whatever you're thinking of me, this is not me. This is not who I am. I'm a linguist. I love languages. I learn languages. I find it fascinating to go through words. I love words. I think of words as my brothers and sisters, and every day I should say hi to them. So this is me thinking of languages. I am not completely in the field of medicine, but does that mean that medicine is superior and linguists are inferior? No, it's just they are all equal. People choose their preferences based on their background and their experiences.
Of course it is.
Okay, just to take advantage of time, I have a few questions and I have a task that I will ask you to do, and then we'll debate it and talk a little bit about it. How do you change your willpower to improve your English based on what you read?
The first thing that I did, or redo it.
How do you? Not how did you? How do you?
No, I'm talking about the days when I take the sessions.
Okay.
That is in the past. I do the same ways like I did before when I learned English the first time. Like I put the headphones in my ears and I started to hear English songs, and I tried to write it down. I did this again. I'm trying to read more like obstacles or like something new that I did in the last few days is that I activate the captions thing on the videos, because yeah, I didn't do that because when you know English very, very well and you don't know certain words, you will still understand the whole context and the idea. You will not be obligated to know what this word exactly mean. So I do activate that the captions, so I can write down those words that I didn't know before. I bought a lot of IELTS books.
Is that falling under the category of consumption without necessity and wasting money?
No, it is very useful. I use it a lot. Like yeah, I use it a lot. It is very useful. Come on, it's a book. It cannot be a waste of money.
What is the price? I mean, if it is a secret, you should not tell me about it. But what is the most expensive thing that you bought this year that you can tell people about?
Okay, it is.
If
like
it's a secret, you can skip it if it's a secret.
No, it is. It is not. I don't think. Like,
Gold?
do you mean for myself or for others?
Gold, diamonds.
Diamond, yes. I bought a diamond.
Oh yeah. You told me about it.
For my mother. No, that's for my mother as a Mother's Day.
Okay, great. Good for her. How do you plan to dedicate willpower to improve your meditation?
Oh.
1 minute.
Is it related?
Yeah, I mean, you need a
really,
huge, a huge amount of willpower to focus on your
I think,
meditation.
like,
I'm
I
not
think
practicing
it's the
meditation.
opposite. Like meditation will need a lot of willpower, or willpower need a lot of meditation. I don't know actually.
Well, how do you incorporate willpower to improve your meditational behavior? Like, in order to meditate, you need willpower, and in order to uh, have willpower, you need to meditate. I mean, they are
Yeah.
both tied together. But I think it comes from the fact that willpower is energy. And if you want to maintain some consistent meditation, you just need energy, because that keeps you focused, and it should have a lot of willpower to just stand still and thinking of things.
There's a
And
cross-linking. Yeah, you cannot know what is who is the first and who's the
it's
second.
kind of like chicken egg
Yeah.
debate. Okay, you didn't answer that question, so let's skip to the next one. How do you incorporate willpower to manage budget?
I told you actually. I write down my spendings for about, I think, for 1 week. I did that, and I said I will not ever buy anything unnecessary again. I will go to the markets and the shops or the malls only when I need things that are very useful to me. I I stopped using my cell phone a lot, like surfing internet and going through
Because they have
the
stimuli, it's kind of stimuli.
yes, you know, the advertisement that they did and the temptation you give, they will force you to buy even things that you don't know where to use it. So these were my principles to use a willpower to manage to do some budgeting.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to say?
No, no, I don't think so.
Okay. Now check this text that I sent you here
Yes.
In Skype. Do you see it?
Yes. About 500 words long, the same on the following statement. Dealing with willpower.
Let me read it to you, because I want you to understand what I'm talking about. Motherhood is a great feeling. How do you how have you been dealing with willpower after you became a mother? I should have added a question mark here. Has willpower increased or decreased to achieve your goals and objectives in life after you became a mother? I want you to write a narrative of 500. I know 500 is not normal length, it's longer.
It is very short, I think.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
motherhood.
great. Compared to the dictionary of motherhood, 500 words is nothing. It's an atom. So what I want you to do is just to free yourself, open your chest, and tell me a narrative of whether you becoming a mother, despite the challenges, has pushed you forward or backward, and how, with stories, evidence, proofs. I want to hear what's in your mind, and just debate with you and talk through that. I think what I'm trying to do is to do some connection between chapter 5, your experience, and give you feedback on your academic writing for IELTS. That's my goal.
So you want me to write or you want me to talk?
I want you to write academic
because you said I want to hear.
I mean, of course, when you write, you are going to talk, but it should go through the filter of not saying, "Hey, buddy, this is me talking. I'm gonna talk about blah blah blah." I want you to use formal, solid academic writing.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Sounds very good.
Okay, great. Talk to you this week, inshallah, and whenever you finish it, just send it to me, and I'll definitely be very excited to read it and discuss it with you.
I don't know when we can meet again, because I mean the exact day, because I'm going to have the COVID-19 vaccine tomorrow, so I don't know what the symptoms I will suffer from. So I will keep in touch with you, and I will tell you.
Sure.
When I
Definitely.
finish it.
Okay, let me know tomorrow or the day
Is that
after,
okay?
whenever you. That's definitely okay. That's definitely okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, say hi to Jafar, and I look forward to see you this week, inshallah.
Okay, thank
مع
you. Have a
السلامة
good night.
مرحبا بكم. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome back. Thank you for watching this video. This video is to applicants who want to pursue an MA or PhD in linguistics, TESOL Applied Linguistics. هذا الفيديو يخص بالتحديد الناس اللي حابة تقدم على دراسة الماجستير أو الدكتوراه، اللي ناويين يقدمون على تخصص طرائق اللغة الإنجليزية أو علم اللغة العام أو methods of teaching أو أي تخصص ضمن إطار اللغة الإنجليزية pure linguistics, discourse analysis, CDA. هذه التخصصات ضمن فرع linguistics or applied linguistics. أول نصيحة إلك، لا تعتمد على أي شخص يقول لك الماجستير صعب أو الدكتوراه صعبة نهائيا، لأن هذا الشخص اللي يقول لك هيجي مستحيل هو مكمل ماجستير أو دكتوراه، وإذا مكمل ماجستير أو دكتوراه راح يرفق موضوع الماجستير والدكتوراه صعبة بعبارة لكن تقدر تعبرها بعد جهد. فأي شخص يقول لك لا أنت صح، خاصة إذا بنات مثلا يقول لك أنت ما تقدرين، ما تقايشين، هذه المصطلحات اللي ما تناسب الدفع الإيجابي يعني النصيحة اللي يقدموها لكم حتى تكون عندكم الإمكانية على الاستمرار في هذا القسم. النصيحة الثانية حقيقة بسيطة جدا، لا تنوع هواية مصادر، اعتمد على مصادر أساسية تدرب عليهم بطريقة جيدة. المصدر الأول تقدر تعتمد على ويكيبيديا. شلون تعتمد على ويكيبيديا؟ أنا رحت يعني للكلية لقيت 150 طالب مقدم. ذول 150 كل واحد شايل يعني هلكت ملازم وكأنما مقدمين على طب مثلا، وكلها تقرأ وكلها انجيجد وكلها. أنا كنت شايل كتاب جورجول، بس مع كتاب جورجول كنت شايل حبي للغة، يعني أنا أحب هاللغة وعندي شغف بيها بحيث أقدر يعني أتدرب عليها بصورة متواصلة، لأن أحبها. يعني اللغة تفتح لك مدارك كثيرة بدماغك، بالمعرفة اللي عندك، تخليك تسافر وأنت قاعد بالبيت. فالفكرة رايدين 3 مقاعد، فقلت أنا راح أضحك ويا نفسي شلون أنقبل ويا هاي المجموعة. اجت الأسئلة الناس دايخين، أنا باوع على أسئلة تعريف اللينغويستكس، تعريف سيمانتكس، تعريف سينتاكس. ذولي من بديهيات أي طالب مكمل بكالوريوس أنه يطلع عليهم باليوتيوب، تقدر تشوفهم، تعاريفهم موجودة. فنرجع للحلقة ما توصل ويكيبيديا، اطلع على المواضيع بصورة عامة. لكن انت راح يواجهك السؤال التالي، زين أنا شنو اللي أعرفه راح يجي بالامتحان حتى أطلع عليه؟ نختصرها من الأخير، يعني نسوي reverse engineering أو هندسة عكسية. أنت رايح للاختبار، جمع الأسئلة مالت الاختبارات مالت السنين الفاتت، وأقعد أنا اللي سويته تدربت عليهم، خلي تايمر مؤقت 3 ساعات وأجي أجاوب عليهم كلهم. بعدين أنطي تقييم النفسي وأكون كلش هارش ويا نفسي على يعني على التقييم. أقيم نفسي على هذه الشاكلة، وبعدين أشوف شنو السلوك الخاص بالأسئلة اللي أو نمط السلوكي أو السلوك النمطي للأسئلة، فأعتمد على حلك لهذه الأسئلة. بعدين انطيها المقيم، واحد من أصدقائك أو أحد أشخاص اللي هم بالماجستير، سوي لك روحة على مقررة القسم، لأن هي تعرف كل المواضيع هذه. إذا ما أرشدتك الأسئلة، فالأسئلة موجودة بكل كلية بالإنترنت. وعادة المناهج اللي خاصة بالتعليم العالي اللي مجال علم اللغة إذا ما كاتبي لك الأسئلة فكاتبي لك على الأقل 5 أو 6 مواد أساسية تعتمد في الأسئلة. 1 General Linguistics علم اللغة العام، 1 له علاقة بالجرامر، 1 له علاقة syntax، 1 له علاقة phonetics and phonology. فذولي بديهيات اتدرب عليهم، بس شنو؟ تشتغل على مسارين. المسار الأول طرح الأسئلة لأكثر عدد ممكن من طلبة الماجستير أو الدكتوراه اللي مقدمين هذا. المسار الثاني جلب أكبر عدد من الأسئلة والتدريب عليها، لأن هذا راح يصير عندك background knowledge. فتروح للاختبار تروح أنت مستعد، عندك كافة الأسئلة. لا تدرخ، افهم، لأنه الكتابة مالتك لازم تتحسن. جيب لك قلم وتدرب على الكتابة بطريقة جيدة، يعني إذا تارك مسافة طويلة ممكن هذا يسبب لك إشكال على طريقة الإجابة مالتك للأسئلة بالاختبار. فضروري تتدرب على هذه الشاكلة. أنا هذا اللي سويته، وهذا اللي خلاني أحصل على مقعد بالماجستير بالعراق بالبداية. فنصيحة، لا تعتمد على أقوال قيل وقال، لأن هذول اللي يقولوا لك ما لهم أي علاقة ولا ارتباط ولا معرفة، وأصلا هم جهلاء وبعيدين عن مسار طموحك اللي أنت تريد تحققه. أنت وحدك تقدر تقرر. فلا تعتمد على أي قيل وقال في موضوع أنه الماجستير أو الدكتوراه صعبة ومقاتلة وما أقدر لها وراح أفشل وكذا. نهائيا هي مجرد طاعة الأستاذ مهمة، الاعتماد على خبرة الأستاذ أيضا بدرجة معينة، القراءة والاطلاع، وعمل فقط اللي يريد الأستاذ، لكن خلي اطلاعك، يعني خلينا نقول do not let your schooling interfere with your education. فطور نفسك من جانب وحاول تنفذ الواجبات والمهام اللي يطلبها من عندك الأستاذ. اتعلم كيفية كتابة البحث الأكاديمي بالاطلاع على البحوث السابقة والبحوث اللي منشورة يعني مجلات سكوبس، إضافة إلى البحوث اللي تخص اهتمامك وشغفك بالتحديد، لأن هذا راح يحدد مسارك في مرحلة كتابة البحث. احنا عندنا حلقات أخرى، إذا حابين هاي الحلقة واستفاديتوا من عندها نقدر نكمل على كيفية كتابة البحث الأكاديمي إن شاء الله. ربي يحفظكم. مدرب اللغة وليد خالد. Good morning. How are you? I hope you're doing great and awesome. Waleed is talking to you. I'm an English teacher or a teacher of English for some grammar Nazis out there. I want to address some common questions, or what we call them FAQ, frequently asked questions about English. I'm starting with as many questions to be addressed as possible. Question 1, I want to learn English. Well, that's the best thing probably that you will do, and you will never regret in your life. Learning language is such a beautiful thing. It's better than probably having a trip to Geneva. Well, I'm exaggerating. It's better than probably saving a lot of money. You need just to get yourself ready to do a little bit of effort in the beginning. But this effort is going to pay off later on. One thing you will definitely need is to start focusing on the essential vocabulary that might help you expedite or speed up your English speaking. The first objective and target is to focus on top 50 nouns, top 50 verbs, top 50 adjectives, and top 50 adverbs. And for your luck, and fortunately, I have compiled them in this short manual that I've been working on designing for some time. It's easy and straightforward. It walks you through the basic elements and necessities that will help you become effective and good active English speaker. But again, it takes a little bit of patience, mechanical training, and some mental nutrition, like focusing on probably most common nouns and verbs and adjectives, and coupling that with a little bit of watching YouTube, which is essential to build up some good mindset to get you started and become receptive more and conducive to being taught. Language learning takes a little bit of malleability, or the ability to be malleable, and it does not happen overnight. So you just need to be patient. If you are the kind of person who expects quick results, probably expect quick failure. But that's a good thing. You can learn a lot from your failure if you are the kind of perseverant, curious, and hard to be beaten and adamant to your objectives, targets, and goals in language. Learning language is going to open variety of doors to you in terms of work, in terms of business, in terms of relationships. Probably you may find a date from Malaysia or Tunisia or Algeria or United Kingdom, and you secure yourself a good passport to immigrate and then settle there. Who knows? Maybe. You never know. So the idea is that learning language is really important to you to build your career and to have a good arsenal of skills that will take you to the next level. If you have been following me on my page, probably you would feel bored because of the bombardment of lessons that I give on a daily basis to get you started and move your lazy back from where you are to where you inspire to be. If you do not have a role model or a person to follow and be like, it's going to be really hard to, reach your goals and accomplish satisfactory results in English progress. Starting with the easiest things is really necessary. Probably don't get yourself in, a rut of reading New York Times, Washington Post, The Economist, Time, and New York Times. It's going to be really extremely difficult to, dissect the meaning of headlines and the content of the essays and articles out there. But that's good inspiration to shoot for, but not now. Maybe temporarily pausing that is a good idea. And of course, as I said, with a little bit of patience, you can achieve your goals and become very satisfied with the kind of progress, and actually amazed by how much progress you can make over the course of time if you start gradually and incrementally increasing the basic skills that you need to equip yourself with to become better English speaker, including extensive listening, extensive engagement, society stimulating activities such as engaging with friends in direct contacts, using English or contacting people abroad, and maintaining consistent amount of English practice, and understanding the necessity and need of English, for example, to negotiate for meaning and understanding and reach mutual acknowledgement or mutual understanding about any certain case you're debating, whether that's work, leisure time, vacationing, whatever. That is the ultimatum regarding what you need and where you should start from. But essentially, keep it simple. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, quote Steve Jobs. And understanding that concept is going to help you realize that in order to reach out for people, you do not need to be translator. You just need to be an English speaker. And to be an English speaker is a matter of maintaining simplistic phrases, idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs from here and there that you collect from watching TV shows, soap operas, movies that are not quite extreme in content, and eventually reaching a maintained level of progress that will help you over the course of time to become incrementally better English speaker. That's frequently asked question, and the question is, can I learn English? What should I do? These are probably tips that will help you through your journey, and in companionship with me, of course, I can definitely get you started, get your body moving, and get yourself ready to practice English and become part of the 400+ million people who speak English as their formal, official, or secondary language. دمتم على محبة وخير. مدرب اللغة وليد خالد. Tiny creatures. Papa and George are helping Grandpa Pig pick vegetables. Grandpa hands Papa a lettuce. Papa can see something sitting on the lettuce. That's a horrible monster, she snorts. That's just a little snail, says Grandpa. Monster, says George. George likes the snail. Suddenly the snail disappears. Where is he gone? Asks Peppa. He's hiding in his shell, explains Grandpa. Grandpa, George and I want to be snails, says Peppa. Well, says Grandpa, these baskets can be your shells. I'm going to eat up old Grandpa Pig's lettuce, laughs Peppa. Keep off my lovely lettuce, and you cheeky snails, calls Grandpa. And when Grandpa Pig shouts at me, giggles Peppa, I'll hide inside my little house. Monster, says George. Here are Peppa and George's friends. Can we be snails too? They ask. Well, says Grandpa, you could be something else exciting from the garden. What's that buzzing sound? Asks Peppa. It's coming from that little house, says Susie. It's a bee house, explains Grandpa. It's called a hive. The bees collect nectar from the flower and then fly to the hive to make it into honey. I like honey, says Peppa. Let's pretend to be bees. Buzz, 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 ha ha ha. What's busy bees? Laughs Grandpa. Granny Pig has been baking bread. Would you busy bees like some toast? She asks. Yes, please, says Peppa and her friends, with lots of honey. I like being a bee because they eat lots of lovely honey, says Susie. I like being a snail, snorts Peppa, because they eat all Grandpa's vegetables. كان معكم مدرب لغة وليد خالد في قصة قصيرة للأطفال والكبار. ربي يحفظكم. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Not sure if we are live or not, but let's say tentatively, good evening. My name is Waleed, and I'll walk you through a few entertaining steps to help you improve your English and be active English speaker. Now, when we talk about English, there is a misconception, honestly, about the importance of English and where and from which access you should enter this beautiful language. When we talk about English, we talk about English that we use for talking about our life, about our routine, to do some transactions with people. And this is the basic English. The question that we should posit is, do we need complicated academic vocabulary and academic kind of language to impress people? The answer is no. We just need very basic English verbs, adjectives, nouns, and adverbs to help us talk English to people. As an example, if I access right now online and I write top 20 verbs in English, what you just need to learn is learn the 20 to 25 list of verbs in English that will help you become better English speaker. That will help you understand how we ask questions in English and how we perform a better conversation with people. You do not need to master being the next Al Pacino or Robert De Niro when you speak English. Because in fact, we are not translators. We are just simple English speakers. By the way, if you have any questions, please let me know. Send me the question as a form of a message, and I will address this question. So, talking about verbs, the major problem with English verbs is actually 3 or 4 problems. Problem number 1 is the verb be, have, and do. And problem number 2 is irregular verbs. مشكلتنا باللغة الإنجليزية تتمحور في مشكلتين. مشكلة رقم 1 فعل have, be, do. دول عندنا مشاكل وياهم، خاصة فعل be، لأن هواية ما فاهمين شنو الفعل be. والمشكلة الثانية هي الأفعال الشاذة. أنا ما أحب كلمة شاذة، استخدم الغير قياسية أفضل. فحتى نتعلم اللغة الإنجليزية يا جماعة ما المفروض نصير مترجمين. احنا مو مترجمين، فبالتالي محاولة يعني دخولك في مجال ومحترك الترجمة هذا كتخصص احنا في غنى عنه. احنا حاليا نريد نتعلم نتواصل باللغة الإنجليزية بكل بساطة. لهذا السبب بالفيديو السابق ذكرت لك learn English please. I beg you learn English. Today احنا اليوم راح نتعلم بعض الأفعال الأساسية إن شاء الله إذا ما طفى الكهرباء طبعا هذه الأفعال الأساسية هي 25 فعل. هذه أكثر 25 فعل تستخدم في اللغة الإنجليزية. إذا بقيت وياي راح تتعلم، إذا أنت مبتدئ في اللغة الإنجليزية، بهذه الجلسة البسيطة راح نتعلم شلون نماسترهم. شنو هاي شلون نماسترهم؟ يعني how to master them. بي هو شنو الفعل بي؟ هذا فعل الكيان أو الكينونة اللي احنا سامعين به. حقيقة أي مصطلح تستخدمه أو تسمعه بالعربي ما راح ينطيك المعنى الدقيق مالته. مجرد استخدام هذا الفعل بتفرعات اللي محتاجين من عنده شنو؟ أنه الجملة باللغة الإنجليزية ضعيفة الاشتقاق، والكلمة باللغة الإنجليزية ضعيفة الاشتقاق. حتى نفهم شنو بي لازم نفهم شنو الفعل بالإنجليزي بالعربي. احنا نشوف الفعل يكتب، كتب، يكتبان، كتاب، كتاتيب، مكاتيب، مكتبات. تشوف الديريفيشنز مالتها والانفلكشنز كلش هواية. باللغة الإنجليزية write, wrote, written and write. نحتاج لنا فعل نسميه الفعل المساعد. هذا احنا الفعل المساعد شو يسوي؟ مثل الأبو السكري من ياخذ المساعد مالته حتى يزيد حرق الكربوهيدرات. فالفعل المساعد يزيد دلالة الزمن، لأنه احنا اللغة راح تكون ضيقة إذا ما عندك مرونة بالكلام بها. فيعني أنا بالإنجليزي أقول أنا أكل هسه، بس إذا ما عندي إمكانية أنه أقول أنا أكلت، يعني الشخص المقابل شلون راح يفهم أنه أنا ما أكلت أو أكلت؟ فلازم نستخدم فعل مساعد. فمن أقول I ate، هنا صارت في الماضي أكلت، I eat. هسه I ate. نجي على الفعل المساعد أو الفعل بي. فمن نستخدم الفعل بي هنا مثلا نقول I am here. ما أقدر أقول I here، لأن الفعل بي خواص 3 أساسية، اللي هو يحمل دالة الزمن أو بعد الزمن. من أقول I am here، يعني الطرف المقابل راح يفهمني أنه أني هسه. في الفكرة مالتها أنه بيها اشتقاقات مثل الكان وأخواتها. فمن أقول I am here، ليش هذا شكلها؟ طبعا هذا بيه تفسيرات تاريخية ما نخوض بيها. مجرد أنه الفعل بي هنا يصير I am إذا ويا I، he is يصير is، يصير are إذا ويا we، مثلا we are، they are، على هذه الشاكلة. هذا الفعل الأول. الفعل الثاني have، والفعل الثالث do. هذول ليش عندنا بيهم إشكالية؟ لأن ذول عندهم false friends، يعني أشخاص هم twins مشابهين إلهم، have و do خاصة، والبي طبعا. يعني أنا أقول لك do you do your homework، هنا do you do your homework، الدو الأولى مو نفس الدو الثانية، بس يتبادر للذهن مات بعض الأشخاص اللي بالبداية دا يتعلم ليش دا يكررها مرتين. دو الأولى هذه مجرد أداة نستخدمها للسؤال، لأن أنا بدي سؤال، أنا أقول لك do your homework، افعل واجبك أو أعمل واجبك. بس إذا أريد أسألك شلون راح أسألك؟ your homework أقول لك لا، لازم أستخدم فعل مساعد. فهنا هذا الفعل المساعد اللي يحمل لي هل. شلون هسه احنا عندنا المكافئ مالتها بالعربي هل، بس دو هي مو هل، هي وسيلة سؤال للسؤال على أكشن. إذا دو فالسؤال على أكشن. have نفس الحالة، من أسأل شخص مثلا have you had، فالهاد هي مو نفسها have الأولى سؤال، أداة سؤال، have الثانية الفعل الرئيسي. do be have يجون كأفعال رئيسية، وأكو شبيهاتهم يجون أدوات سؤال. مثلا he is علي، فمن أقول is he علي، is he علي. he is doing his work، is he doing his work. فdoing هنا الفعل الرئيسي، is هو الفعل المساعد. طبعا مختصين راح يفهمها يعني راح يفهموها بطريقة أكثر إذا يعني إذا تتعمق بي. نجي على هذه الليستمات الأفعال. الليستمات الأفعال اللي عندنا اللي هم have do و be. do I do my homework، حتى أسأل أنا أفعل واجبي. do you do your homework؟ هل تفعل واجبك؟ do you do your homework؟ إذا أريد أسأل بالماضي فأقول did you do your homework؟ did you do your homework؟ did you do your homework؟ say يقول. أنا ليش أركز لك عليهم؟ أنا راح أخليهم بالرابط هنا حتى أنت تتدرب عليهم وتتعلم شلون تستخدمه. الفكرة احنا من نجي على هذه الاستمات الأفعال اللي تتباعون عليها قدامكم، هسه خليتها بالرابط، ما أعرف راح يظهر لو يتأخر ما متأكد، بس أنا ضفته. الفكرة هو احنا عندنا competence الكفاءة و performance الأداء. ما يهم ايش قد competence عندك، اللي يهمنا هو الأداء performance أو الأداء performance. إذا كان الأداء مالتك كلش عالي باستخدام هذا العدد المحدود، يعني أنه يكون عندك 25 فعل وأدائك كلش عالي وتستخدمهم بصورة دورية، أفضل مما يكون عندك 250 500 فعل وهم خاملات ونايمات ببالك بدماغك بذاكرتك ومدى تستخدمهم. say مجرد تقول مثلا what do you say، هو مو say do، هو do action، ف what do you say شنو تقول، ماذا تقول. what did you say ماذا قلت. get I get a pen أنا أحصل على I get money أنا أحصل على مال. did you get money. make I make watches I make coffee I make coffee أنا أسوي قهوة. بالماضي I made coffee، شلون made in China made in Japan. I make coffee I made coffee. لفظ مهم جدا أيضا بهذه الحالة know I know أنا أعرف. do you know أنت تعرف. do you know do you know. take I take my medicine I take my medicine أنا أخذ دوائي. I see you and I see you in the afternoon. احنا شلون نسويهم؟ دفتر ملاحظات بسيط مثل هذا، كل واحد من هذولي الأفعال أكد لك 25 فعل، اكتبهم دخلهم بجمل وحاول تربط هذه الجمل بمسائل من حياتك. يعني مثلا come my، فبدل ما تكتب just come اكتب my friend comes to see me my friend comes to see me. think I think you are correct. شنو يعني دائما احنا نقول بالعربي أنا أعتقد أنت صحيح أنا أعتقد أنت مو صحيح مثلا. هذه بعض الأمثلة اللي نقدر نستخدمها هنا. I want coffee أريد قهوة. I give you money I give you money. إذا بالماضي ف I gave you money. فهذا المشكلة الثانية قلت لك الأفعال الغير قياسية. use I use my pen I use my pen I use my phone. أهم نقطة لازم تكون ثرثار جدا بالمحادثة، يعني لا تحاول تقصر نفسك ضمن أنه تقول الجملة وتتوقف، لا حاول تسوي ديمومة للجمل بحيث تسوي generation أو توليد لجمل حتى لو مو مهمة، حتى لو ما بيها معنى مترابط. أهم شيء تشجع مخارج النطق مالتك حتى يكون أدائك عالي. I find my keys أنا ألقي مفاتيح. I tell you a secret أنا أقول لك سر. I ask you a question. Can I ask you a question؟ أقدر أسألك سؤال. I work at university أنا أشتغل بالجامعة. He seems happy هو يبدو سعيد. لاحظ he seems she seems ضيف لها هذه s. I feel optimistic أنا أشعر بالتفاؤل أو أنا متفائل. I try my work I try my glasses أنا دا أجرب نظاراتي. I leave home tomorrow إن شاء الله in the morning. I call my friends every night. فهذه الليستة مال 25 فعل اتعلمهم إذا أنت مبتدئ جدا اللغة الإنجليزية. ضيفونا. أكو شيء كلش حلو بالإنجليزي اسمه quick study، ما أقدر أشاركه هنا حقيقة لأنه الفيسبوك يمنعني أنه أشارك ملفات. فهذا PDF 4 صفحات بمختصر مال أهم الأساسيات اللي تحتاجها. فهذا بس اكتب بالإنترنت quick study، واحد من مواقع البحث تحميل PDF، مثلا PDF Drive، هذا الموقع quick study PDF. الملف اسمه quick study ESL English. سكتبت لكم اياه بالتعليقات، فشوفوا وان شاء الله تستفيدون من عنده حتى تطور مهاراتك اذا انت بالمستوى المبتدئ. مثل ما قلت لكم، اي سؤال حابين تشاركوه يا ريت تشاركوني اياه على بريد الصفحة، وبكم خير وتدللون ان شاء الله، ونحاول نجاوبه باسرع وقت ممكن. مدرب اللغة وليد خالد، ربي يحفظكم.